Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to help you navigate the currents of daily affairs, focusing today, August 29th, 2025, on Part 1 of our update. As always, we're cutting through the noise, aiming straight for the core insights essential for your UPSC preparation. Our mission: simple. Extract the key knowledge, give you a clear, concise understanding tailored to help you prepare effectively.
That's absolutely right. And, current affairs for UPSC, they're just so dynamic, always shifting. Some topics today might feel familiar, a good chance for revision, maybe cementing what you already know, while others, well, they'll likely be fresh insights. We really hope you'll engage critically, try to connect the dots between these different areas, think about the bigger picture.
Exactly. Think of it as us navigating this information landscape together.
Okay, let's unpack today's crucial developments. First up, there seems to be a pretty significant push from the government on the trade front.
Yes, the Export Promotion Mission. Right, announced in the Union Budget 2025-26. And the numbers are big, roughly, Rs 25,000 crores spread over 6 financial years, FY 2025 to 2031. So beyond just that headline figure, what's the real strategy here? Is it just about numbers, or is there something deeper, especially for, say, smaller businesses?
Well, the why is really interesting, and it does go beyond just boosting export figures. The aim is for growth that's broad-based, inclusive, sustainable. And the real shift, I think, is moving from just conventional subsidies towards building an actual ecosystem for exporters. It seems specifically designed to tackle those tricky bottlenecks, the ones that often trip up Indian businesses, particularly MSMEs, the micro, small, and medium enterprises trying to access global markets. And it's not just one ministry acting alone. It's a joint effort, commerce and industry, MSME, finance, that tells you something about its strategic importance.
An ecosystem build. I like that framing. Okay, and I hear the Department of Commerce is leading this, and it's broken down into 2 sub-schemes. Nirit Protsahan with over Rs 10,000 crore and Niryat Disha getting over Rs 14,500 crore. Can you break those down a bit? What are the key parts, especially the ones that might really help MSMEs?
Sure. So under Niryat Protsahan, it's heavily focused on the financial side, critical support, things like interest equalization, basically making export credit cheaper. That's over Rs 5,000 crore right there. Plus support for alternative trade finance. Think options beyond standard bank loans, which is vital for smaller firms. And here's something genuinely new, a credit card specifically for e-commerce exporters. That, alongside mechanisms to bridge liquidity gaps, well, it could be quite impactful.
A credit card for e-commerce exporters. Now, that's interesting. Almost like fintech meetings of small-scale global trade.
Exactly. It helps formalize things, too. Then you have Niryat Disha. Here, the focus shifts more towards market access, quality, capacity. So you've got substantial funds, about R1 4,000 crore, for export quality compliance, ensuring products meet international standards. That's huge. Also big money, over Rs 4,000 crore, again, for overseas market development. Plus support for branding, warehousing, logistics, the nuts and bolts of getting goods out efficiently. And finally, capacity building, helping more Indian firms actually integrate into those complex global value chains.
It definitely sounds like a more holistic approach, moving beyond just handing out money to sort of re-engineering the whole process for businesses, especially those MSMEs. A fascinating economic blueprint. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Infrastructure and international relations. There's news about the Punatsangchhu-II Hydroelectric Project in Bhutan. The last unit's been synchronized, so it's successfully completed. That's a 120 mW. What's the significance here, beyond just the power generation, for Bhutan and for the India-Bhutan relationship?
Oh, it's highly significant. It's a major 1 GW run-of-the-river project on the Punatsangchhu River. And crucially, it was developed under an intergovernment agreement, an IGA, between Bhutan and India. That itself speaks volumes about the deep cooperation and trust. The funding structure is also worth noting. India provided a 30% grant and a 70% loan at a 10% annual interest rate. So it's very much a shared development initiative bolstering regional energy security.
And the actual impact on Bhutan's power capacity is pretty dramatic, right? I read it increased their total installed capacity by something like 40%.
That's right. A jump of about 40%, pushing their total capacity over 3,500 milliW. That's transformative for them. And, just for context on the engineering scale, we're talking a 91-meter high concrete gravity dam, diversion tunnels, an underground powerhouse with 6 big 170 milliW turbines. Quite a feat. Its completion really solidifies that strategic energy partnership, providing clean, reliable power.
So, yeah, much more than just megawatts. It's about partnership, regional stability, clean energy.
Got it. All right, let's move towards environment and conservation. Some good news coming out of West Bengal, specifically Gorumara National Park in Jalpaiguri. Apparently, the one-horned rhino population there is up thanks to some new births. Always great to hear. Could you place Gorumara for us? Why is it important?
Absolutely. Gorumara is a key spot you'll want to know. It's in the Dors Terai region, basically the foothills of the eastern Himalayas. Sits on the banks of the Murti and Radak rivers. It became a national park back in '92. Covers around 80 square kilometers. And it's really known for its biodiversity, but especially as a vital habitat for the endangered one-horned rhinoceros. It's a critical link in that whole wildlife corridor.
Ah, yes, the greater one-horned rhino. A recurring topic for UPSC environmental studies. Can you give us the quick facts on the rhino itself? Sure thing. Scientific name, Rhinoceros unicornus. Found mainly in India and Nepal today, though historically they had a much wider range. Kaziranga National Park in Assam has the largest population, over 2,400. They like semi-aquatic areas, swamps, forests near rivers. Biggest of the Asian rhinos, single black horn, that iconic gray-brown hide with the skin folds looking like armor plating, primarily grazers. And critically, their conservation status on the IUCN Red List is vulnerable, so every new birth is indeed significant.
Fantastic news for conservation, truly. And speaking of important natural sites, let's talk about the Pong Dam. There's recent news about its water levels breaching the danger mark. That always brings up questions about water management ecology.
Right, the Pong Dam, also known as the Bees Dam. It's a large earth-fill embankment dam on the River Bees, up in the Shivalik Hills, Kangar district, Himachal Pradesh. Its main jobs are water storage for irrigation further downstream and generating hydroelectric power, both vital for the region.
And it created that large reservoir, the Maharana Pratap Sagar. That has its own environmental story, doesn't it? Beyond just holding water.
Oh, absolutely. Ecologically, it's incredibly important. It was declared a bird sanctuary way back in 1983 because of the sheer diversity of waterfowl it attracts. And then in 2002, it got designated as a Ramsar wetland site, specifically recognizing its importance for migratory birds. You get huge flocks of bar-headed geese wintering there, for example. Plus, it's a crucial fish reservoir in the foothills. Supports livelihoods, too.
So whether it's rhinos in Gorumara or managing the Pong Dam reservoir, you see these complex interdependencies. Great examples for your geography and environment sections, understanding the multiple roles these sites play. Okay, let's switch to health. A critical update here with relevance for both animal welfare and public health. The revised National Action Plan on glanders. First off, what exactly is glanders and why the focus now?
Glanders is an infectious disease caused by a bacterium called Burkholderia malae. It mainly affects equines, so horses, mules, donkeys, but, and this is key, it's zoonotic. It can potentially infect other animals and crucially humans as well. In horses, you see things like nodules, ulcers in the respiratory tract, lungs. There's also a skin form called farcy. The revised plan signifies a renewed focus on controlling what can be a nasty, difficult disease.
Zoonotic.
Yeah.
Meaning it jumps from animals to humans. How does it usually spread? And what makes controlling something like this particularly challenging in India?
Well, common routes are things like contaminated food or water, shared harnesses, even ingestion of infected meat, unfortunately. Clinically, it's often broken down into nasal, pulmonary, and cutaneous forms. The challenges in India, well, think about the sheer number of equines. Many in less organized settings, maybe with nomadic groups, surveillance is tough. Plus, the disease can have a tricky incubation period. Symptoms might look like other things initially. And because it's a WOAH-listed disease, meaning the World Organization for Animal Health tracks it globally and it's notifiable under India's own PCICDA Act of 2009, effective control needs really robust tracking, fast diagnosis, and sometimes difficult culling decisions. Logistically and socially, it's complex.
Definitely highlights the need for that One Health approach, considering animal, human, and environmental health together. Okay, changing pace now to social empowerment. Let's talk about Project Aarohan. This one's launched by the National Highway Authority of India, NHAI. That's interesting. What's the goal here?
Yeah, NHAI getting involved in education is noteworthy. Project Aarohan is aimed squarely at supporting the educational dreams of the children of Toll Plaza employees. It's a nationwide initiative reaching out to a community that's, essential to our road network, but perhaps often overlooked. The core idea is to tackle financial hurdles, help bridge socioeconomic gaps, and give better access to quality education, especially for kids from economically weaker sections, girls, first-generation learners, those from SC/ST, OBC, and minority backgrounds. Really about fostering opportunity.
Sounds like a really positive initiative. What kind of support does it offer? And how's it being run?
Funding. It's designed to be quite comprehensive, so it's not just financial aid that's part of it. It also includes structured mentorship, skill-building workshops, career guidance, preparing students more holistically. It's being implemented in partnership with SME Seat Trust's Bharat Cares. The initial phase, running from July 2025 to March 2026, has a fund of Rs 1 crore. That's set to cover 500 students from Class 11 up to graduation, each getting Rs 12,000 annually. Plus, 50 students in postgraduate studies get a bigger scholarship of Rs 50,000 each.
Fascinating to see an infrastructure body like NHAI branching out into direct human capital development. That's quite a statement. And sticking with community welfare, there's another one, the upcoming Matsya Shakti Project. What's the focus of this one?
Matsya Shakti is specifically targeted at empowering minority fishing communities. The goal is to equip them with a range of skills to improve their livelihoods and overall community well-being, vital for often marginalized groups. This one's being implemented by the Vizinjam Regional Center of ICAR CMFRI, which falls under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare.
Okay, and I understand this isn't a standalone project, but part of a bigger scheme.
Yes, exactly. It's conceived under the umbrella of the Pradhan Mantri Virasat Kasambardhan, or PM Vikas scheme. PM Vikas itself is a central scheme from the Ministry of Minority Affairs. It focuses broadly on skills, leadership, and entrepreneurship for minorities and artisans. It actually consolidates 5 older schemes you might know: SICO, Arkamao, USTTAD, Hamar Dharohar, Nai Roshni, Nai Manzo. The aim is to reach around 9 lakh people during this 15th Finance Commission cycle, covering 2025-26.
Right, so if you connect the dots, it's all part of that larger push for holistic development, bringing marginalized communities into the economic mainstream. Key theme for social justice papers, definitely. All right, let's switch gears again. International defense and security exercise Bright Star 2025. Give us the background on this one.
Sure. Exercise Bright Star is a pretty well-established multilateral exercise. It's hosted by Egypt, working closely with the U.S., and it actually dates back to 1980. It's considered one of the biggest tri-service exercises in that whole region. It happens biennially, and India participated last time in 2023, which was significant.
So, India's involved again. What will our personnel be doing? What kind of activities happen during Bright Star?
Yes, personnel from our armed forces and the headquarters integrated defense staff are participating. The exercise itself is quite broad. It involves live firing exercises across all 3 services: Army, Navy, Air Force, good for testing readiness. There are also command post exercises, which focus on joint planning and coordination between the different participating countries. Plus, shorter training modules on modern warfare techniques, and importantly, interactions between subject matter experts to share knowledge and best practices.
Okay, so it really underlines India's engagement in regional security cooperation, building interoperability with friendly nations. Crucial stuff for IR analysis. Now, let's turn to a global health alert. There's been a concerning surge in Guillain-Barré Syndrome, GBS, particularly noted in Gaza. It can cause paralysis. For those who aren't familiar, what is GBS?
Guillain-Barré Syndrome, GBS, yes. It's a rare but potentially very serious autoimmune condition. Essentially, the body's immune system gets confused and attacks its own peripheral nervous system. That's the network controlling muscle movement. Sensations like pain, temperature, touch everything outside the brain and spinal cord. Another name you might see is acute inflammatory demyelinating polyreticuloneuropathy, or ADP. Basically, the protective insulation around nerve fibers gets damaged.
Autoimmune, attacking its own nerves. That sounds incredibly serious. What usually triggers it, and what are the symptoms like?
Well, the exact trigger isn't always clear, which makes it tricky, but often it develops after a person has had a viral or bacterial infection, sometimes after vaccination or even major surgery. It seems the immune system gets revved up to fight the infection, say, and then mistakenly targets nerve cells. Symptoms often start with maybe a fever, then progressive weakness, tingling sensations. This weakness can escalate quickly over hours, days, or weeks, potentially leading to severe paralysis, even affecting breathing in the worst cases.
Is there a cure? What's the outlook for people who get GBS?
Unfortunately, there's no known cure for GBS itself, but treatments are available. Things like plasma exchange or immunoglobulin therapy can help ease the symptoms and potentially shorten the recovery time. The good news is that most people do eventually recover completely, though it can be a long road, sometimes taking years. Recovery often requires significant rehabilitation. Sadly, some severe cases can be fatal, but most people are usually able to walk again about 6 months after the symptoms start.
It certainly highlights the challenges of diagnosis and providing intensive care, especially in crisis situations, and underlines the importance of understanding these autoimmune conditions for health policy discussions. Okay, wrapping up our deep dive today with an economic empowerment scheme. News just came in about the approval for restructuring and extending the PM SVANidhi Scheme. This was set to end, right?
That's right. It was scheduled to end December 31st, 2024, but it's now been extended and revamped. You'll recall it was launched back on June 1st, 2020. Really a direct response to help street vendors hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, providing microcredit. It's run jointly by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, Mochue, and the Department of Financial Services, DFS.
Okay, so it's getting a new lease on life and some upgrades. What are the key changes we should note? Especially anything boosting digital use or expanding who it covers.
Several important updates. First, they're expanding the coverage. It won't just be statutory towns anymore, but also census towns and peri-urban areas, so wider reach. Second, the loan amounts are being increased. The first loan goes up to $15,000 from $10,000, the second to $25,000 from $20,000. The third stays at $50,000. For digital adoption, a big step is introducing a UPI-linked RuPay credit card. This gives vendors much quicker access to credit. There are also incentives cash back up to $1,600 for digital transactions, both retail and wholesale. And a stronger focus on capacity building training in entrepreneurship, financial literacy, digital skills, marketing. Plus, they're strengthening the welfare aspect, the Samani Se Samriddhi component, through monthly Lokalian Melas, and adding hygiene and food safety training with FSSAI for street food vendors.
So it really seems like a comprehensive upgrade. More money, wider reach, serious digital push, plus skills and welfare. A great example of inclusive growth policy for your governance and social justice studies.
Wow, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today. Everything from India's export ambitions and major infrastructure in Bhutan, rhino conservation, health alerts like glanders and GBS, social schemes like Aarohan and Matsya Shakti, defense exercises, and empowering street vendors.
Absolutely. And the key takeaway for your preparation is always to connect these threads. Don't see them in isolation. Ask yourself, why is this happening? What are the broader implications? How does, say, better animal health surveillance potentially link to public health outcomes? That's where the deeper understanding comes from.
Precisely. This deep dive is all about giving you that edge, turning information into usable knowledge. And if you found this session valuable, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps us keep bringing you these focused analyses for your UPSC journey. And here's a final thought to ponder. Could the revamped PM SVANidhi Scheme, by boosting local entrepreneurs and encouraging digital payments, actually create tiny ripples that eventually support the larger export promotion mission? Maybe through hyperlocal supply chains or even micro-exports online. Something to think about.
Indeed. Until next time, keep digging deeper.